It's the Full Force News Burst, proudly brought to you by Battle Action Force, the Treasury editions. I am your host, Christopher McLeod, AKA Diagnostic 80. Now let's get into the news.
Full Force!
What's up? Hello and welcome to the News Burst. Yes, I'm a Toys R Us kid, as it shows on me at. Let me move that down. Yeah, congratulations. What does that mean? Hello, guys. I guess I'm just excited because we've got an Action Man, yo. Yeah. Obviously, we had, some reveals in that today on the old Fanstream and that. So we'll be talking about those today. I'm all over the place. I'm absolutely I'm in pieces. I'm all over the place. Hope you're having a good Wednesday evening. On this June the 10th. Fanstream 2 happened earlier. Mark says, hey, Chris, I should be asleep now. My bad. We've had like... I love that comment, Huntress. I'm not saying it out loud, though, because of the swear word. Happy Mask #1 day as well, Jeremy Kimberlin. Yes. So, comics news for like this happened today. That's going to have to wait till Saturday. All right. We are focusing on the fan stream today, and I know there was this whole Skybound segment as well, which I don't think they've posted the video for that yet. I had a look just before I went live, and I haven't seen that video posted yet. BMAC on the stream said it was going to be later today, but he did an interview with Tom Riley, and was it Joshua Williamson, I believe? Either way, Mark says, is there a longer BMAC Skybound interview out or comic soon? Well, apparently, yes. It was supposed to be coming out later today. I don't know how late that's going to be, but yeah, I assume we're going to get that situation fairly soon, or if not, maybe just shows up tomorrow. But either way, there's going to be a nice long interview, Skybound related, which should be really cool. Yeah. Anyway, did I tell you guys my Tom Riley story? I might not have done. I might have done, but also can't remember what day it is. So you'll have to forgive me. I'm literally all over the place. Neighbors of ours know him, and just so happened that I was out walking our little baby chicken, Annie, she's a dog, and I got chatting with the neighbors a few houses down, and they're like, oh yeah, we know you like GI Joe, because I wear GI Joe items of clothing every now and again. I have explained to them that I run a podcast, that they obviously don't care or care about. Who would, honestly? And they're like, oh, we know someone related to GI Joe, and then got to talking, and it turned out it was Tom Riley. So I was like, wow, that's amazing. Small world as well, by the way. Our road has all sorts of like Hasbro historical elements as well attached to it. It's crazy. Anyway, should we get into it? Because we've got lots to talk about. Might as well. I don't want to send anyone to sleep on this one, like I did in past episodes. Anyway, let's get some explosions going on, shall we? Yeah, so Fanstream 2 gave us 3 more pre-orders, and obviously some, basically the 3 items that were up on render reveals last week, which obviously, I mean, you can probably do the maths yourself there, but I would expect whatever render reveals we saw today to be available next week. So all I'm going to say about that. All right, cool. So yeah, we got Grand Slam and Le Hal, which is French for the Hal. We've got Action Man, of course, which absolutely, I'm rocking the orange hat today in honor of one of the most, I don't know, like absolutely mind-boggling reveals ever. We have known about this for a while, but even so, I was really excited for what it meant, what it looked like, and all that kind of good stuff. And hot diggity dumplings, I'm just blown away at how cool it is. It's so like scratching that nostalgic 90s itch that a lot of us in the UK had obviously more of a positive response to this one. I don't think there was it's one of them things. I totally understand if it's not something that you are into or had growing up or whatever. I get that there's a distance there, But man, we'll be getting into it. But it's just so awesome to get this action man, the greatest hero of them all, in the classified series, sort of. We'll explain that a bit later on as well. So let's get into the rest of it. So obviously, YoJoe June starts with the classic YoJoe June title. Dan and BMac again, of course. I believe everything was recorded in one go. So amazing. And yeah, we'll start with Grand Slam and the Howl. Now, I have to admit, this is massive. This is pretty chonking, isn't it? And it's cool. We've got obviously, it evokes the old school heavy artillery laser. They've utilized what looks like, is it sort of like sci-fi blast effects that are kind of what's the word? Sort of repurposed or like changed a little bit. That's what it kind of looks like to me. They look very sci-fi blast effects. It's all still available, said Todd C, which is awesome. That's great. Orange, you glad we got Action Man? Yes, thanks, Scott. That's brilliant. The orange is amazing, Andrew, for sure. I was too young to have had the HAL, says Chris D'Amato. Yeah, I didn't. This obviously wasn't part of my upbringing, but of course, the red HAL, the red heavy artillery, or the red laser exterminator, I should say, in the Red Shadows Palatoy era, was a redeco of this. And that is something that I think would be an absolute banger of a redeco. If they did this in red, called it Laser Exterminator, threw in a red laser, did like a, sort of like I don't think you'd have to redeco Cobra Commander. I definitely think a new head would have to happen for a new character, and also just to kind of make it very different from a Cobra Commander helmet. And then, kind of like, I don't know, maybe do something slightly more generic with the torso, so you don't have things like Cobra Commander related elements on him necessarily, and he's more sort of like generic would be kind of cool. I think that would be really awesome. I would love a Laser Exterminator redeco of this before we've even got the HAL and Grand Slam. But yeah, I mean, this is sort of like to me, this feels like Red Laser needs boots too, says Neo Blue Max. Yeah, totally. To me, this feels like more of a box ticking exercise than, and again, for me personally, because again, the HAL wasn't really part of my upbringing with GI Joe, and yeah, so I know the people that obviously did have this as kids are going to be absolutely blown away and all up for it. But Grand Slam before Flash is a bold and impressive move, considering Flash has sort of been on the line plan for about 3 line plans now and just kind of keeps getting bumped along. And the reason we know that is because we get listings very early on that give some information in them. And on those listings, you're kind of going, interesting. And then on the next one, you're like, So it's kind of interesting that Flash has had this sort of journey. But I think even BMac has said that it's going to be completed before the end of the year. I believe he said that. So maybe we'll have a look at what possible areas we could find Flash in later when we look at the listings. Whirlwind is better than the HAL, which is better than the Flak, says Scott. Crom says, I don't have the HAL, had the Mountain Howitzer, but it looks cool. The Mountain Howitzer is dope as well, actually, Crom. Grand Slam and HAL was a childhood memory for me, says Rancid Dragon Productions. I assume very strongly that Shooter will get a retro card. I think that's a pretty like odds-on bet there, White, considering BMac has brought that up about 3 times now in 3 separate events. Maybe 2 separate events. I might be exaggerating there, but he's definitely mentioned it multiple times. Glenda was the Flash identifier, says Flaffle. Indeed. And again, yeah, he's sort of been there or thereabouts, but for some reason they just have not, locked him in for some reason. So yeah, finally we should be getting that sorted out. Couch Boy BMac said 14 this month. Yeah, we've got 5. No, we've got 5 left. Right? So the first was what was the first thing we had? It was 3, wasn't it? It was Cobra Commander. Oh no, technically 4 if you count Scarlet and Chibang. We've got 5 left after next week. So next week is, I mean, like I said, look at the renders. That's what you'll be looking at next. And then the last week will almost is we've got 5 spots. I'm almost certain that's going to be the 5-figure wave that we'll look at on the listings later. Just to kind of like, set some expectations, I would say. I would love them to do a special Brazilian Comic Con Cobra deco. Oh, hell yeah. Why? Absolutely. That'd be amazing. Dumb question, but does this have a 360 swivel? I believe it does. They didn't really show it off, did they, that much on the stream? Like they didn't move it around or kind of, get into any kind of movements on it. I would imagine that's a 360 bad boy. It looks like there's a split there, doesn't it? So I don't know. I'll ask. Let me ask on that one, and see if I get a question. Let's see how quick Chris can get a response regarding the HAL. Probably not very quick at all, actually. Because who's going to be paying attention right now to me? Probably nobody. Does the HAL have 360 swivel? They may have mentioned on the actual stream, but I didn't catch that. On the floor, catch that. No one I knew had the HAL, said Blitz. I think the HAL makes one appearance in the Mass Device series at the very beginning. Air Raid, says Huntress. Yeah, I can't recall it in the cartoon or anything, but yeah, I think it was because it was early on in the whole kind of series of Real American Hero. So it's, I think they tried to get more or less as much as they could into that first couple of miniseries. Had the flat cannon, never saw the HAL, says Derek. Sorry, Todd. I'll see if I get a response from that eventually. I don't know if I will. I would love them to do a special. I've done that one. Sorry. Flaffle says last 3 retro wave. Well, no. I'll just tell you that now. We're not getting that. We might get possible renders or what have you, but we're not. Yeah, the last one is I think is almost certainly because we've got 5 left after Dusty and Avalanche, of course. It's great to get towables. I'm hoping for the ASP soon too, says Neo. Hunter says, I picked up a vintage HAL mountain howitzer Slugget and Whirlwind over the years. They're good vehicle. Oh, well, good. Yeah, I guess vehicles, towables, whatever you want to call them. Thankfully, the exclusives didn't sell out immediately. Maybe they learned their lesson and ordered triple what they usually do. I think there's a couple of elements there, PBJ. I think maybe there's that, but I also think cost and amount. And I mean, there's a lot of pre-orders in a month for people to be jumping on top of. Do you know what I mean? Like it's I would say they're asking a lot of the fandom. I know YoJoe June is one of those kind of periods of time where it is kind of like G.I. Joe Christmas. And it's one of those things where I think the expectations are high. I think Hasbro may sort of overdo it a little bit over this period because of that sort of like furore over the whole month, that need to have something like on a regular basis and to sort of like be satiated in a sense. I personally think one stream, like a mega stream that has like, I don't know, like 8 or 10 pre-orders in it, and then the rest of the month is sort of like spread out into, cute social posts, I don't know, like other video stuff, like an unboxing of like a snowcat, for example, would be great. And he did mention that there was going to be some sort of unboxing of the snowcat between now and SDCC, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I think it's more to do with the fact that the fandom are being asked a lot of their wallets over this period of time, and it's not like these were 3 cheap sets either, was it? Like you've got a deluxe figure and then you've got a 2 effectively figure vehicle sets which are chonkin. So yeah, I think it's actually probably more to do with the fact that it's an expensive ask more than anything. BMAX said we got most of 2027 furthest they ever went out in June. Yeah, what he meant, what I think what he was talking about was that the only things they have in terms of like name only reveals left are further out, like in 2027, because the only name onlys we've got are going to be things that we see before the end of this year. Um, I would kill for a naval twin 40mm Bofors AA turret trailer, says Huntress. Interesting. I'll be honest, says middle-aged Cal. I didn't really get into Joe until 83, 84, so I don't have the nostalgia for the original 13 outside of Snake Eyes. Yeah, I mean, you're not the only one, I would say, Cal, on that one. I think a lot of people are sort of, it's where you kind of enter the kind of like brand, like where at what point are you like in that sort of like prime kid with toys age, where do you like land in that period of time? And then your era of Joe is that one that you land on, isn't it? And then everything prior to that is sort of like uh, like what's the like it's a study, and you're sort of going back and you're kind of seeing things that you didn't catch the first time. You might like have to like do a little bit of light reading on before you understand what it's all about. And then you may jump out at a certain point and then miss things going forward. So yeah, there's always that sort of like window of opportunity, isn't there? That we all sort of like land in. The third leg better not fall off at this scale too, says Neo Blue. I don't think it will. Couchway says BMAC's been a hero thus far, transparent and real up front. It's so easy. I mean, to be fair, the classified team always have been. I have always enjoyed the fact that Emily was always very like clear and transparent. She'd always be messaging on Instagram and putting things out and answering questions and stuff like that. The team have always been very open. All of their events, they would kind of like be very transparent. They'd kind of give us a lot of good information. I've never really had a problem with that. And BMAC is just, I would say, continuing that. And yeah, like getting a lot of, posts out prior to certain events to kind of give people like, setting expectations, which I think is something that, a lot of fans will really are like wanting, and sort of needed. Do you know what I mean as well? So yeah, I think it's great. And I think he's doing a great job. He's doing a lot on his own as well at the moment, isn't he? Thank you, Blitz. I appreciate you pay attention. Looks like it's swiveled at least a small bit in some of the shots. Yeah, well, yeah. Like we want to see if it's 360 though. That's the question, I think. Sorry guys, loads of comments. I'm missing everything. I apologize. I'm gonna just skip. And if I've missed a comment, put it in, say it again. It's totally cool. And if you want me to read a question or whatever, I will. But I've got to move on because otherwise I'll be here for ages. And I was way behind. My apologies. Anyway, so some cracking shots of the HAL here in Grand Slam. I will say, I'm not sure if you guys have noticed this, but there's not a lot. Like there's usually a detail, isn't there, around the padding, like an edge detail. Like I want to say, like it's almost like is it silver on the figure? I want to say, can't remember, but Dusty Lawrence is a mainline because he's a figure pet set. So yeah, yeah, Dusty Sandstorm is what I'm talking about there. Yeah, so I don't know if that's bothering anyone else, but it's sort of something that I can't unsee. It doesn't look, like there should be something around the edge of that padding, I think, personally. But again, I could be on my own on that one. Still really cool to get Grand Slam. I think I feel like Flash has to be round the corner at this point. And according to BMAC, that seems to be the situation. So yeah, I think we can safely assume Flash is a very soon to be kind of like joining the classified series. I like that it's hooked up to the Mark II vamp here. Obviously, like, although I will say I would say the only sort of homage that I can really find, not homage, but the only sort of like other thing I can find in the promo images. And again, really nice images again. I will say the one on the right though, it does look a bit like the background looks like it's got light shining on it, as you can kind of almost make out that it looks like a sheet or something. That's the only thing I would say. Other than that, they look fantastic, and I love the Action Man images, which we'll look at in a second. There might be a black border around it. I just probably am not looking close enough, am I? Yeah, there may be deco, but I don't know. I could have sworn it's like got the silver around it. Pads are black around the edge, said Todd. Now that you've pointed it out, yeah, the lack of the border stands out, says middle-aged Cal. Oh yeah, it's true. Grand Slam is in the same pose in both pictures, and it's funny because I just grabbed them and threw them in. So it just happened to be that he's doing the same thing in both. I do actually have an original 82 straight arm variant Grand Slam figure. Only 82 in my collection, says Huntress. Not a bad one to have as well. It might be yeah. I think it's the black border around the pads. Chris, forgive. Could you clarify something? Is the Triple T rumored or is it confirmed as it is exclusive to a con? It is rumored, I believe. The Triple T. Paul says, honestly, weirdly enough, I wish they had done the low light thing with him and molded the pads onto the torso with the ab crunch so that he could bend there, not happening with that secondary. I get what you're saying on that one, dude. Like actually like tooled another torso. I think people would have had an issue with the pads having that break, but you know, everyone has their own opinion and like their own personal preferences on this stuff, don't they? I bet they saved Grand Slam for last so they could really knock it out of the park, says Lawrence. Dr. C Taylor 66 says, you're right, Chris, the chest should be outlined in silver. I think that's what's kind of making my eyes not, you know, it's something about that particular detail stood out to me, and I think that's all it is really. Yeah, looking at my vintage has silver trim, says Diecast Nick. There's a rectangle of light. It's on that one as well, actually. I just noticed it's on this shot as well. There's like a rectangle to the right hand side, where the mountains meet the skyline, basically. He's pointing again. Yeah, I would prefer a silver border, especially since his belt buckle and the harness have silver. Yeah, that's true, actually. Interesting they didn't do that. Maybe it was some sort of deco ops costing situation there. What is he pointing at? Plus, he's pointing the opposite direction of the HAL, says who said that? Ted. If Joe's are to have the blue lasers, that Cobra laser vehicle will have the red lasers, question mark. Maybe. That is an interesting thing as well on talking about the lasers. I don't know if that's that's to me, like, it is what it is. I get the thing of like the cartoon having the Joes with red lasers and the Cobras with blue lasers sort of didn't make a lot of sense, but also Cobra are blue as well, so maybe it's not that crazy and beyond the realms of possibility. Not giving us one surprise today was very, very whack. There's no shilling around it, says a toy kind of mood. You mean as in the two? We got two renders though. That was new. No, I know you mean as in like name only reveals. It's because they've been giving too much out. That's why, and they're behind. They can't, like, you know. I'll shill around it as much as I want. Now he's in the same pose, but with a gun, says Scott. That's true. He is. It's not pointing. He's pointing a gun in a direction for sure. He's waving for someone to bring him a beer. Obviously, says obviously bad. Yeah. They'll probably put the silver on the retro card version, says middle-aged Cal. I wonder if we get the. Well, I definitely could see them doing Grand Slam with the silver pads. Speaking of silver, but the actual silver pads. No, we're talking about the outline, Couch Boy. Talking about the outline around the padding. There is a silver deco around the outline of the padding on the vintage figure. I'm not talking about silver pads Grand Slam. I'm talking about red pads Grand Slam. And that it was standing out to me that it didn't look quite right in some of the shots and the images. But here he is. And there's Dan holding him and getting shot by the laser as well. Here's another shot untouched by Dan Hands. But yeah, so I think like, I don't know if like the silver pads would be a retro or if they would do a jump pad or something. That would be kind of cool. But I mean, it's not like why would you make a Grand Slam and then not do the most obvious redeco of him in the future? that would, that would kind of make a lot of sense to me. Gabrielle says the trim question mark. Yeah, so like there's a little edge around the padding, like goes around, like a borders around the padding on his chest and around his thighs. It's black on the figure, and on the vintage figure it was a silver color. And my eyes were kind of looking at this saying it didn't look right, and that's why. Dan Larson wearing the Sky Striker shirt can only mean one thing: classified Conquest X30 confirmed, says Bad. Hilarious. I love that. Scott says, but TIEs shoot green lasers and X-Wings shoot red. Yeah, I don't think it makes any difference in the end of the day, does it? I don't think it was a mistake that needed, fixing necessarily on that one. Did they use blue blast effects for the Rattler gunner? They did, yeah. So but I mean, yeah, they did. It's not really a laser as such. It's more of a machine gun, isn't it? Yeah, but they did use a blue blast effects on the Rattler. They did, yes. Nice on Future Fortress, Maximus. Sorry, I'll talk less about that, and you have a cold shower. Yes, exactly, Rancid. Silver paint pen and a steady hand fixes the trim issue. BMAX says 3 tomorrow. That makes it easy before the videos. BMAX says 3 tomorrow. 3 tomorrow? What? These were the 3 for today that he was talking about yesterday, if that's what you mean. And then obviously next week is we do know because it's the renders base, isn't it? Like tomorrow, 3 things are coming out. Not tomorrow, they're not. They said in the stream today that they are changing the effects color so Joe's get blue and Kirby get red now. They did, yes. That's what I'm talking about, Josh. That's why I've literally been talking about that. He says the number of things coming out the day before. He does, yeah. But that was yesterday for today. Riddle me this. Why is literally every Joe vehicle a Pulse exclusive? That is a good question. And I think it's just so that they can actually produce it. I don't, because again, like if mainline is difficult for larger vehicles and things like that. I think it's just because it's easier. It's not something that has to go to retail. It's not something that some of them, not all the vehicles. Yeah, Pulse. The spoiler was fan channel, wasn't it? Or fan Mazin. It was fan channel, wasn't it? I can't remember what the despoiler was now off the top of my head. What was the despoiler? It's too much information. We'll see on the listings later, but it's probably all down to costing and where it's going. In terms of like, can it be practical? Is it something that people want at that sort of? Basically, it can't go to retail because it's too big and they don't want it at retail. The retailers don't. So I imagine it's just the easier, best way for them to do it and put them out there. And it's all probably down to, that's retailers probably passed on it. Yeah, well they do because it's too big and they don't want to have loads of it, clogging up shelves and what have you. I'm so sorry, Couchboy. I'm not following what you're getting at. If you're talking about all the pre-orders, right? That BMAC has talked about coming this month. There's 14 in total. We've had, I think, all but 5. Well, all but 7 actually. So there's going to be more next week, and then there's going to be more on the last week. So, like I said, the renders give you a very good idea, which is what BMAC was insinuating on the live show today, of what's coming the next week. Yes, he tells you before, like he did the other day. You're right. He tells you the day before what's coming. I don't know what I don't know what point you're trying to make, is what I'm saying in the comments. What point are you trying to make? I don't know what you're getting at. I did get a ship notification from my Diatech Night Creeper yesterday. Oh, awesome work, Cal. I got Zartan. I don't know why I'm pointing there. You can't see it. I got Zartan in the mail the other day, so Diatech should be around the corner. Building a Lego for my wife's birthday while listening. Nice one, Stanley. Which one? I'm interested to know what you're building. Scarlet and Shebang counts as 2? No, that's 1 pre-order. 2 figures, 1 pre-order. He didn't talk about how many figures that we were expecting. He was talking about how many pre-orders were dropping. So that's what that would mean in terms of Shebang and Scarlet. Anyway, we've got the box images as well. Which, am I wrong here? This looks like a quick image was taken on a phone. It doesn't look like this was actually properly photographed, right? Am I being crazy here? It just doesn't look like the usual sort of like. It looks like it's been cropped out from a. Anyway, and I'm being very picky today on the quality of the images. And I honestly, genuinely think there's an element here where there's just not enough people at the company right now. I think I've really, they're losing a lot of people at the moment. It's crazy. Anyway, but yeah, it's an interesting one, that one. But again, I think it's down to the fact that there is time crunch involved. I think there is a lack of bodies as well to actually do this kind of work, which is kind of crazy to me that this has happened. But here we are. Yeah, anyway, that's that. And then we've got the back. Well, actually, let's look at that again because, yeah, I think someone mentioned this looks like sort of the same environment with Sergeant Slaughters and the Bivouac and all those guys. And I think, yeah, it probably is that scenario, I would say. But again, no, like, it's crazy the lack of, and this again, I'm going to put this down to just not having enough people on, like, doing things at the moment, but not having other things on the box, like other vehicles, other background stuff. Like, I don't know, it's just like, it's such a shame. Moving to Boston was just a really bad idea, wasn't it, Crom? Yes, indeed, I agree with you. The box art is pretty solid, says Ted. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I do like this kind of render image on the front. It's very, very awesome. And can we tell who's in the other image? Let me have a look. Just relax. Let me have a look. Chill out. I don't know actually if I've got an image good enough to see who else is in the other HAL. I think they've done it into such a degree that it's really hard to make out who is in the other HAL. But I bet you could with a better image of it. I don't think I have it on my phone though. No, it's all on my. I just went straight onto the old laptop for this. But anyway, there's no Conquest in the background. But how cool would that have been if they'd have? Yeah, that'd have been sick. Green shirt could be Scott, absolutely. It could be a green shirt operating the second HAL, Ted. Yeah, indeed. We'll have to have a better look when we look at the box close up. Is that a snake arm in the background? Squishy, you never fail to remind me of that, and I love it. Could be Royal Bill, says Robert H. Oh, that's that. Yeah, is it the wide hat vibe? It's the classic Joe green blob head, says Crom. Of course. The Easter egg got blown up in the background, says DJ5. That's actually not a bad shout, DJ5 Ash. Anyway. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Huntress says they'll throw their boxes away. Who throws away? I keep all of mine. It's terrible. Like, the storage issue is ridiculous. Rusty says, at first when BMAC mentioned the Skybound comics, I thought he was going to introduce some Skybound figures. That would have been cool, Rusty. That would have been cool. But no. Again, it's down to it's all that kind of like patterns, expectation, what they usually do around this time. With YoJoe June, there's usually a stream that is very Skybound focused. This time we had a little bit of Skybound, but a lot of pre-order stuff, which was kind of cool. So yeah, what we're saying in the chat. Keep says Stanley. Throwaway says Crom. I struggle to have the room for toys, let alone the packaging. Crop Star Entertainment says keep everything. It's a problem. Lol. Agreed. Cal says I'm an inbox collector, which makes it even. Well, actually, that saves you displaying another way, doesn't it? So that that's probably actually an easier way of doing things. NIB says Andrew Law. Is that Nint inbox? Keep says Neo. Trash says Slave. I barely have room for the figures. I can't keep the boxes. With apologies to the brilliant design team that creates them, says Bad Wolf Media. Studio Henge, I throw all boxes away after classified hit 100. Not surprising. Andrew Garrison says, I'm sorry, the HAL was silly in 82 and still silly in 2026. Hey, Andrew. I've only kept the Hasbro boxes and Once a Man, says Twisted. HasLab boxes, sorry, not the Hasbro boxes. That would be all of them. R. Rolf says only keep special boxes. I like that. Yeah. JR kind of says some of both. Stay says I kept fancy boxes like Serpentor, Mindbender, Cold Slither. Rand says boxes are materials for dioramas. Huntress says I try to keep, but the lower quality of these boxes, I'll toss them. Ryan says I kept the HasLab boxes too. White says 2 boxes, 1 open, 1 still sealed, and keep ones I like, says Johnny B54. 54. Cool. Here's the back showing you all the stuff that this comes with, which is actually obviously the HAL is massive, so kind of takes, I guess, most of the cost with this. So we end up with 2 blast effects, and then Grand Slam comes with the figure hidden himself, helmet, pistol, and rifle. So it's not like a loadout. It's not like a loadout of the ages, is it? But it is, obviously there's a reason for that, and we can actually see the HAL, like how you put it together on the back there, which is kind of cool. But I can't tell if it's a 360 or not. And guess what, guys? No one's got back to me, so thanks a lot. Shows you how much they care, doesn't it? Only joking. And then we've got a few more kind of ecom images here to have a look at, but we've seen this already, so I don't think it's I don't think it's necessary to hang about on these. Looks kind of cool. It kind of looks like a creature there with the legs, but yeah, brilliant stuff. Yeah, this is going to be fun. Right, next up then we have the Vamp Mark II, which was another render reveal last week, with Clutch, and there he is with his steel core helmet on, driving in the desert, with the roof off. Took the roof off there just to show it can be removed. And there he is blowing something up in the distance. All of the Easter eggs, unfortunately, have been decimated. Dan said the seats are squishy on the HAL. I think that's probably nicer than my car, says Bad Wolf. That's kind of fun, actually. I missed a few comments. Sorry. Paul says I just started cutting up HasLab boxes. Oh my goodness. I did the box purge a couple of years ago into the line and haven't looked back. I do keep the HasLab and exclusive boxes, says Ted. Throw them away. I have all figures out of package in order per year, says Rusty. Boxes go in to my parents' loft, says Diecast Nick. I also kept the HasLab slave. Huntress says we need 2 green shirts to go with this to load shells. Definitely. And there we go. Cool. Thanks for letting me know, guys, in the chat. Clutch just blew up a HAL. That's why Grand Slam was yelling the wrong way, says Bad Wolf. I like your narrative on this one. That's quite cool. White says, was not paying the greatest attention. I like it. Thank you. It sounded like there was a longer interview video for Skybound. Hopefully they post that separate. Yes, it's a video that's going up later today. Might be up now. I don't know, but I checked before we went live and it still hadn't been posted. So I imagine that will be posted either later tonight, I don't know when, or tomorrow. Interesting, the Scorpion Tampo is only on one side, not both. I didn't notice that, actually, Neo. Anyway. X Factor 17 says, even worse, I buy plastic totes to store my box toys. So I don't buy the tote. They've already got them, but I do the same thing. I love the Snowcat missile launcher on the Vamp 2, beefier than the vintage. Yeah, it's a lot chunkier, this one, isn't it? I have to admit, I love this deco on it. And we're getting the regular Vamp reissued, guys. I know BMAC mentioned that in the stream. He said that the first version of the Vamp will be back event in stock, now that they've kind of gone through these kind of like, the tooling for all these other things, they will be running more of the regular vamp. So that I think is really good news, because that is something that a lot of people were messaging me about at the time. I remember when they kind of sold out immediately, and when they would come back, it was always very like short lived. And yeah, so hopefully those that missed out on the regular vamp the first time around will be able to get it again. The back window covering is nice, says Paul. Yeah, it's pretty cool, that. Yeah, big time. Probably to kind of like protect a little bit from the missile guff and sound. Yes, I think a ferret reissue would be welcomed as well, Crom, for sure. That means a longer delay before Jeremy Kimberlin and me, I'll have you know, Ryan, gets his Tiger Force vamp. Yes, the Tiger Sting. I would absolutely go ballistic for a Tiger Force one, but yeah, I think Jeremy and myself and other Tiger Force fans will have to wait a little bit on that one. Anyway, Clutch looks dope in tan. I jokingly said they should have done a tan grunt, like I'd give him a tan, like an orange road pig or something. That would have been hilarious. And what a troll as well. Like, same deco, but then just the skin tone tanned. And there you go. There's your tan Clutch. I think a Dreadnought Ground Assault, yes, is definitely a good shout. I do think a Tiger Sting. I'd be down for a Tiger Sting, Dreadnought Ground Assault. I mean, the Vamp has had a lot of redecos. I would even go as far as to say Special Weapons Force, the unreleased Palatoy Action Force sub team, had a Vamp redeco, which was kind of like a white with grey and some, like, obviously like some logos and what have you, and bits and pieces like yellow was in there. It's really, really fresh, sexy Vamp redeco. So I'd really love that. They could even get away with it being like an Arctic Vamp and, put like an actual, I was going to say cockpit, but you know what I mean? Like a windshield and a proper enclosed section, so it wouldn't be as impractical. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. It looks like they tried to fix Clutch's mustache, but they just slopped paint around his mouth rather than a new head sculpt. Let's have a look at him a bit close. Well, I'll have to look at him close up on another image. But here he is checking the engine out. It's the same vehicle in it for the most part, with the exception of the rear weapon system, which is sort of a retool, and of course all the nice little additions from the Stinger as well. Am I misremembering? Was there a Street Fighter Vamp in 93 or 94? There was, I believe, a Street Fighter redeco of it as well. There have been all sorts of redecos. The Vamps had more redecos than most vehicles. I don't know which one the most redecoed vehicle is, but I have a feeling the Vamp's going to be high up there. High up there. High up there. Yeah, Dusty Sandstorm is going to pair well with the Mark II. I agree, Raphael. Good shout on that one. A bit of synergy going on there, and I'm not talking gem. Although, my God, I'll be talking about that on Saturday as well, on the weekly. All of this cool, like, musical nostalgia and like events that are going on in San Diego. That makes me so sad I can't go to that one, because it's going to be like, Stan Bush and Bloomin' Gem. Like, what? It's going to be amazing. Anyway, enough of that. We'll talk about that on Saturday. Did BMAX say that a lot of classified Easter eggs can be found in the Skybound comics? I don't recall that exactly. I'm not quite sure what. I'll have to watch again and try and pick that up, and maybe I can talk about something like that on Saturday. But I don't remember. I don't remember something that would. I don't know what he was talking about in that sense, whatever that means. Catching it live. Thanks for all your hard work, Chris, from the UK. No wonder, Tac. Thank you very much for the nice comment. They hinted at Arctic Stinger last year when they announced the Arctic Hiss. They did, didn't they, Scott? Yeah. Right. Yes. Which way do doors open? Straight up or angled? The doors, they kind of flip up like that. Whoop. on the kind of the hinge, basically. Or do you mean other doors I'm not seeing? You can kind of see it there on that shot there, kind of like opened upwards, kind of going whoop, gullwing style. Middle-aged Cal says, I think the Mark II was my first Joe vehicle. My first Cobra vehicle was the Hiss, and the driver got stolen when I took it to school. That sucks. Yes, that Gem Blaster as well, Jeremy. I'll be talking about that on Saturday. Have no fear. I'll be talking about that. I'll saving that for the weekly. This is Fanstream reaction. Yeah. Yeah, Lambo style, Andrew, indeed. I think cool. He spoke about them showing the Skybound people half of the coming. Oh, that's what he was talking about. Yeah, half of the coming year's figures at meetings they have once a year, and that what they see in these meetings sometimes ends up in the comics. Thank you very much for that, Bias, for for kind of clarifying that. I do remember that part of the episode of the stream. Would be crazy to see some Fun School red repaint or cops as white. Yes, that kind of racing red and white one is crazy, and then the super cop one would be dope. Just where did this tree come from in the desert, says RR Rolf. Yes, indeed. Where did it come from? Yeah, anyway, let's move on. There he is stacking the old canisters in the back as well. Cool. I mean, it's the vamp. We know what it is, what it looks like, and this is just a tasty morsel in a different color, which is very dope. It's a nice looking vehicle. The vamp's really cool, and I think people have sort of semi been expecting this for a while, haven't they? The Stinger made sense to do, almost immediately after the vamp, so that so Cobra could have one of their kind of most iconic vehicles. So to get this again, I wouldn't say so soon. It's been a while. SAS Panther would be dope as well, Dr. C. Taylor. Indeed, yes. But yeah, I'm more partial to a Special Weapons Force one myself. Did BMAC say something about a change to Scorpion decal? I don't remember, Johnny, but someone did mention that one of the decal's only on one side instead of both sides. I didn't notice that actually myself. Heart Wrencher and the Dreadnought vamp is going to be so good, says Couchboy. If that is the case, I'm in. I'd love if they improve the weapon system mount on this so it doesn't come off so easy. Todd, yeah. So this is a retool of the Snowcat weapon system. I imagine it will probably have the same connectivity as the first vamp, with that one little kind of plop in kind of situation. The decal is updated according to Crom. Thank you. We do need a stun, Crimson Cobra Commander. I agree. Since it's the same turret as Snowcat, can it come off and be used on the ground as an outpost turret? I don't believe so, Neo. I believe the connectivity will be the same as the last vamp, like the little kind of like bloop, kind of like. Although, is the nubbin on the vehicle, or is the nubbin sticking out the bottom of? I think it's flat on the weapon system, right, with a hole in it. I can't remember. I'll have to I could look at it. It's right there. But I have to get up and walk over there, and I can't be bothered. So I'm just going to say we don't know yet, but I imagine it'll come off. That's for damn sure. But I imagine it'll have the same connectivity as the first vamp because it's a retool. It's not using the exact same, the completely exact same elements. I think it's just using like the system bit at the top. With the Stinger and Despoiler being Amazon, they definitely could have made this vamp on Amazon too. It depends. If Amazon might have said no. I think the weapon piece has the hole. Yes, that's what I think is the case, Rancid. Yeah. Lenny confirmed, not same mold, just same sculpt scaled down for vamp. Thank you, Jeremy. Appreciate that. Cowboy Whiffle says Arctic Vamp 2. These vamps are huge. I imagine 6 coming. I'll need a real garage to store my classified vamps. Indeed. I thought they said on socials that this isn't the same as the Snowcat, just same style. So it's the same sculpt retooled. It comes off easy so it doesn't break. I just need a Thunder Machine now and I'll be happy, man, says Middle-Aged Cal. Arctic Stinger should have the twin guns of the vamp. Make those Cobras suffer in the cold. Yeah. Knob is on the vehicle. Thank you, Antris. Yep. I want one in legit camo. I understand why it came with Clutch, but wish it came with someone like Sparks. Yeah, I get what you're saying, Toy Bounty Hunter. It'd be nice to kind of get a different sort of character, but again, it's in a sense, it's a way for us to get a tan Clutch as well. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not just about the vamp; it's about getting that other deco Clutch to kind of satiate all of those people, all of the fans that want the the sort of mirror of those original kind of nostalgic vintage releases. But I definitely get what you're saying. It'd be cool to have some of these vehicles come with characters, and well, we've kind of had it a little bit with mainly with Cobra, with the Claw and the Ferret. Of course, never actually coming with drivers in the first place, Kitty said. But you get sort of like these new troop builder kind of pilots and what have you, and pilots and drivers. This will be Cover Girl's ride since no Wolverine, says Jeremy. Nice. Notification Dawn, June 16th is coming. Nice. As someone that didn't get the OG vamp, I'm glad they brought this out. Well, Chris D'Amato, if you did you know that they're reissuing the original green one as well? If you didn't pick it up, just in case you didn't hear that earlier, because that's kind of cool. Chris, do you think they'll ever do a pared down vamp with less add-ons? Where did that go? And the original turret. A pared down vamp with less add-ons in it. I don't necessarily see that happening because they are reissuing the vamp. Do you mean with that reissue? Are you asking if they're going to do that for that reissue? I don't think so. I think there are enough vamps out at that point for it to they have to at some point they have to kind of go, if we just did another vamp that had less things in it, would it sell anything? I don't think it would. I think it would be a bit of a probably would be a waste of sort of like that technically might be one of those kind of wasted spot kind of situations. I know it'd be like getting it a bit cheaper, but Hasbro, that's not their aim, is it? The Hasbro company aspect of it are going to be like maximize, maximize, maximize. And if that like they're not going to run it again, do less things and make it cheaper. Like they're not going to be looking at the fandom and going, what can we do to make these things cheaper? That's not Hasbro, unfortunately. They do not think that way. The kind of corporation aspect of it. Desert Fox would be awesome, James. Yes, it would. Do I think we'll get an APC? Asks Mark P. I hope we do. I don't know how or when, but I really would love an APC for sure. Any clue when they're doing another OG run? Yeah, it's soon. The next, like they're going to be doing it very soon. They didn't say a date. He didn't give us a date. He just said in the thing they're reissuing the regular vamp now that they've done all of the other the tool now that the tooling is back and available. But yeah, it's soon is the official terminology there. I need to paint that helmet tan, says Paul. Yeah, I get what you're saying there, mate. Covergirl, Dusty, Desert SE, all over this vamp, indeed, Couchboy, yeah. Like a retro vamp. No, I don't know. I don't even know how that would work. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it, it's a possibility that it can happen. Do I think it will? Probably not. But that doesn't mean anything. That's just my I don't think they'd do that. The RC Mark II vamp. Oh yeah, the RC Mark II vamp. That was cool, but that didn't have any space for figures, which was dumb. I really thought that was a missed opportunity. Why not make an RC car like that? Might just give it like fake seat, like just a fake space to put a figure. You know, like there's no way they couldn't do that. Like it made no sense to me. I'm sure there's something like there was some sort of issue where they couldn't do it because you can't put a figure in there because like there isn't the safety standard, it's not meant for it or whatever. But it's like just make the space, we'll do the rest. Don't you worry about that. You know, it doesn't, it just seemed really I remember they showed it off on one of the streams and they just sat the figure on the roof. As like Destro, I think, was sitting on top of the roof of the Mark II RC. And yeah, that was an odd time, wasn't it? There was some random license things going on back then. It was wild. I'm pushing BMAC for a Hound Deco vamp. That would be cool. They could just in the reissue of the next vamp, they could make it a real like annoying thing where everyone wants one again by including like a sticker sheet that could turn it into a Hound redeco. You know what I mean? That would be freaking annoying though, because I'd be like, where? Anyway, there he is. There's Clutch in the vamp, looking cool. That's all we need to talk about now, I think. Damn, I'm still. We haven't got to Action Man yet. We've still got to look at the box. Here we go. Now, this I'll give it to him. At least we've got Desert Scorpions in the background of this one, so at least there's that. That makes me happy. We've got Desert Scorpions in the background, and Clutch, for some reason, is completely unaware of this fact. Thankfully, he's carrying his rifle, his shotgun. So whatever it is, I know what it is. I think it's a shotgun. So yeah. That's exactly what I pitched to BMAC, was a decal sheet for Hound. Lol. Yeah, see, that would be really cool, but also annoying because everyone that didn't get one before would want one for the deco sheets. I mean, it would be great for them, but Desert Snake Armor back there, says Paul. Thank you. Desert Snake Armor in the background. Mike Bell says pre-ordered. Yeah, definitely. Samesies. Do you know what though? Funny story. You know what I'm like? I'm like super anal when it comes to this stuff, Kitty said. And I usually am there like refreshing the page for like 5 minutes before it hits 1 o'clock. Wasn't this time. It was 15 minutes past the hour when I realized, oops. And I genuinely thought there's probably going to be some sellouts. Thankfully, not the case. So I was very calmly brought back to earth without any sort of like, yeah. Take that cold shower, Future Fortress Maximus. Anyway, there you go. So that's that. There's the back of it, to show Clutch and the loadout. There's obviously this vehicle and figure have a ton of accessories. So we've got all the usual stuff in there. There's shovel, pistol, the wrench, the shotgun, the helmet, the other helmet, the fire extinguisher, the cans, the axe, and the blast effects, and of course Clutch and the bloody vamp itself as well, which is pretty freaking cool. There you go. A couple more ecom images, but again, we've already kind of covered this, so I don't think we need to really hang about on here. As a nice little shot into it. There he is. And there's another nice little shot. Hello Clutch. Hello Tan. Right, let's get into it. Action Man, the greatest hero of them all. But before we do that, let's have a quick message from our sponsor. Yeah, go and get your deluxe treasury editions of the Battle Action Force comics. They're amazing. They're wonderful. They're fantastic. Wherever there is trouble, he'll be there. Is that Danger Mouse? I'm singing the Danger Mouse theme. Sorry, guys. Anyway, go get them. That is TotalToyBooks.com in the UK and Europe, Skeletron.com in the US, and Amazon for the rest of the universe. Yeah, I did notice that, Jeremy. We'll talk about that now. Really interesting that this random rifle shows up in these shots, in all the promo images, yet not in the package and not in the sort of the ecom loadout images. So is it a case of this rifle has been costed out and they've already done the promo images, so they couldn't kind of like, switch it up? I don't know. Or is this one of those things where the rifle does come with him and it's just going to be thrown in there? I don't know. But in any case, I don't know. I imagine costed out, Paul. Yeah, that's probably the most likely situation on that one. But I've got to tell you guys, I've known about this for friggin' ages. And I was really excited because we heard they were going to do something for the 60th, Action Man's 60th anniversary. And it was coming in the classified line. I didn't know some of these other details, like oh, okay. Sorry, it's just someone just sent me the file card of thank you, Bias, for Action Man. But it's yeah, it's cool. I read it earlier. Now, yes, he's a limey. So Action Man is obviously the back in the day, give you the full history, was the 12-inch GI Joe in the United Kingdom. So Palitoy and Hasbro had a relationship before 1982, when obviously you get Action Force and GI Joe, sort of like this sort of like, I won't go into that detail, but obviously that was the Toy Fair of '82 kind of situation. Prior to that, of course, a number of many years going into this back to the '60s of Action Man and GI Joe, the original Fighting Man, the 12-inch figures, and of course, Action Man was the name given to the UK version. Obviously, GI Joe was something they didn't think would make sense to people and kids in the United Kingdom, which is kind of true. I mean, it was one of those, it was an American term. It was like, GIs, you always thought of American soldiers when you heard the term GIs. And so yeah, so we got Action Man, and it was a similar kind of thing, but it would be, UK based, Action Man related figures like the SAS and like the Queen's Guard and all that kind of stuff. There was lots of amazing, awesome 12-inch figures. Then the 90s hit. Action Man got this sort of rebrand where it was more sort of extreme, a lot of orange involved, especially in the packaging, new logo and all that kind of good stuff. And we got this sort of like, we got like a animated series. We got like live action intro with Trojan from Gladiators playing Action Man. It was amazing. Yes, it was UK, and yeah, obviously Action Man also became Action Force, didn't it, going into '82, and then that's when we got the Palitoy Action Force years, and then we got the International Heroes '87 Hasbro rebrand sort of situation, which eventually merged into GI Joe, the Action Force, then GI Joe. So we ended up just getting GI Joe eventually, but we had many years of Action Man and Action Force. So for me, this was one of those things where I remember this vividly. I was a kid. What age was I? Probably in like, so I would have been uh early, kind of like early teens, like kind of before my teenage years, but like just very early. And it was going into shops like Woolworths and seeing like literal a wall of orange. And it was in stores going all the way into like my adult life. Like, it was crazy. Like, like stock that just seemed to just live there forever. It was nuts. But it was things like more extreme things, like there was a different team that he kind of worked with. He had like a lot of different kind of interesting characters that were included in that, like Natalie Poole and Nuck. And then we had, of course, like Dr. X, who would always be fighting. And there were kind of multiple iterations of like Action Man in that time period. But then it was just so, and we also got Hall of Fame as well in the 90s. So we were also getting we got, I think there was one example of Action Force Hall of Fame logo, if I remember correctly. And then we just got the GI Joe Hall of Fame sort of situation after that. But I do think a Duke came out with that Action Force logo on it. I'm pretty sure it did. It did. I'll have to double check on that one. I'm pretty sure I've seen an image of that in the past. It's been so long since like it was even like talking about this back in the day. But anyway, yeah, so you end up with this like kind of more sort of like extreme sports vibe. It wasn't as military, but there were obviously like spy elements and things like that. It was kind of like James Bond meets GI Joe, and that's sort of what we got with Action Man. And then of course we've had like since then we've had Action Man sort of change again, and we had that sort of IDW Revolution version of him, which actually was a really good miniseries, by the way. That was a standout. That was one of my favorite actually in the Revolution kind of group. And obviously we got the action figure as well in the Revolution box set. But this is like we've got a figure in the classified series, and that just makes me so happy. And I'm telling you, it's doing it for me. Like, I know a lot of people have said it's just just a redeco or whatever, but it's orange, and like I think it's kind of clever because you've got a lot of Outback here, of course, but then you've got like Alpine accessories and Outback accessories, and you kind of end up with what Alpine probably should have in terms of gear as well. Do you know what I mean? Like this feels like what Alpine should have come with in terms of the backpack and the other elements as well, just to kind of you know give him more like actual climbing gear. But yeah, we end up with Action Man sort of getting all of the good stuff, and even down to things like like the torch, the flashlight, the dagger handle being orange, the Caribbean as being orange, the rope. It's a really nice like pop of color on the mostly black, but it looks like there's a hint of color in the shirt as well, like an ever so slight blue in there. But I think it might just be that black blue that you get sort of like in certain light. But the interesting thing is, if you look at the artwork, which we'll look at later on, thanks Mr. Stevie for posting that earlier, there's a really nice kind of like blue on that shirt. And I wonder if that was sort of like the original plan and they just went, let's just, just black him out basically. But I'm loving this. And I also love the fact that on the backpack, you can put the shovel and the grappling hook. You can kind of poke in the holes in the back so he can carry all of his gear like that. Freaking awesome, man. So awesome. Here's another shot of that rifle again, which is interesting. And there it is up against the wall. I don't think that's part of it. So I think everything else is he comes with. But yeah, we also get the two head sculpts as well. We get the cap and the headset, which is kind of what I'm rocking at the moment, just with Toys R Us instead of the classified logo. And yeah, and then the headset with the little mouthpiece, which is pretty cool. And then the other head sculpt, which is like the one that I think a lot of people would recognize more in terms of Action Man, and that is that kind of like the nice kind of slick hair, very Ethan Hunt. I think I saw that. I think it was Bias that mentioned that earlier, but very Ethan Hunt vibes with this particular character. And I just think he looks dope with all the gear on. I love the Action Man logo. You just have to pop that on there, and I'm done. Also, there's an Action Man logo on the backpack as well, which is a really nice touch too. I wish it came with Outback web gear. Hate seeing figures without backpack straps. I get that. I totally do, Wilfredo. I hadn't really noticed until you pointed it out, but that would have been really nice in orange as well, wouldn't it? Like a nice orange backpack strap would be really cool. I might have to try and like create something like that when I get that one. Action Man is very handsome, Slave. Very handsome. He looks cool as hell to me. And other than the true Night Force version, I have no connection to him. That orange really pops. Yeah, there was obviously that 4-inch Toys R Us exclusive Night Force Action Man, which was funny to me because with the camo lines on his face and obviously the splash of orange on him, he just looked like a Tiger Force figure, but he was in the Night Force set, which I thought was hilarious. Every time I hear Woolworth, I think of that as a child busted stealing a figure. P.S. I'm sure I didn't know I was actually stealing. I was so young. I just thought I was playing with the toy. That's so cute. Hopefully you didn't get in any serious trouble. But yeah, that Woolworths, man. That was obviously, I think, two different types of store two different stores in the US and the UK. I don't know if they were related. I'll have to do the wiki search on that one. But Woolworths UK, if it was definitely one of those stores that sort of had pick a mix sweets, housewares, sort of like kitchen stuff, music like CDs, albums, toys. It was kind of like a mini department store, but one level, and it wasn't always huge. They were big stores, but they weren't like super massive, sort of like what's the word, like Targets or Walmarts. They were like a kind of like local sort of department store kind of vibe. Cropstar Entertainment says same store. Okay, brilliant, cool. And I think it was Woolworth, no S, but everybody called it Woolworths with an S, which I always found really funny. The rifle in the promo images is leading us to something that's coming. What can it be, Chris? Says Mark P. Not saying anything. I just think it was costed out, but yeah, I think I know what you're getting at. Anyway, love it. Woolworths is truly a traumatic store. Triggered. Sorry, Couchboy. Yeah, we had Woolworths in my hometown, says Future Fortress Maximus. Aldi also gets an S. Oh, Aldi's, yes, Jeremy, I get what you're saying, mate. Yeah. Woolies, Diecustic, you're right. Woolies is what it was actually called. You're absolutely right. Our Woolworth was the same as a Kmart, says John Cremians. Thank you, John. Hi, bud. PBJ says Walmart's. Huntress says that's because you Brits are weird. True. Like a Walmart, says Couchboy. Yeah, it was called Woolco in Texas. I didn't know that. That's a new one. So there was Woolworth and Woolco in the US, and they were the same company. Interesting. Anyway, let's talk more about this. Here's some beautiful shots of Tom Cruise. I mean, action man. Yeah. Again, this is obviously gonna be more nostalgic and more to my like wants and needs here than to most of you guys, but I see this and I'm just absolutely like beyond happy. I even would have accepted a bright orange t-shirt on this figure. I'd have accepted it. It would have been a big call out to that Night Force one as well. And even sleeveless in Seattle. I'd have gone sleeveless in Seattle. Studio Henge, you talking Woolworths? That's the place where I first saw G.I. Joe, bought Grunt and Snake Eyes, and then for about a year, they had a dozen pegs full of Destros. That's the store I'm talking about, yeah. Odd, I had both a Woolworth and Woolco in my town, says Scott. Were you on the border? Boston had Woolworth, says Neo. Cool. It looks like this man is trying to cosplay a Night Force vehicle, says Huntress. Yeah, and he's doing a bloody good job of it as well, isn't he? Brian King says, I see custom parts. Fair enough. Scott says Woolco was the bargain store. Oh, cool. Interesting. All right. Neat. You learn something new every stream. Southern Ontario here. We had a Woolco in my town. Thank you, Crum. Anyway, great shots. Love this one. I love these kind of ones here where he's kind of looking up and going, got to get up there somehow. And there he is sort of like, that's not how you use those ice kind of climbing spike pick things, but I'll allow it because it's fun and looks cool. Like he's sliding across with the grappling hook rope. But it's a great kind of looking shot. And there he is, the next cliffhanger shot. And there he is climbing up the using them correctly now, climbing up the wall. Although they're kind of ice. They're for ice climbing, aren't they? Am I right in saying that, or are they for all sorts of climbing? You can let me know in the comments. I'll look it up later anyway. He needs a raccoon to fall to rescue. Yes, Bad Wolf. He needs an animal companion, for sure. Looks great. Awesome. Love this. Here he is again, climbing with without the hat. Oh, he's also got the goggles too, which is a nice touch. I do like that because again, a lot of the figures did come with goggles. Chris D'Amato said, "How many did I buy? Just the one. Just the one. I may or may not have something like this on the desk at work. Who was the nemesis to this guy, and do you think they will make a figure of classified of him?" Right, Scott, let's talk about that quickly because Dr. X is who you're talking about, right? There is a brilliant Dr. X Action Man figure where it's called Toxic Gut Dr. X. The figure comes packaged upside down, and when you turn the figure up like around, the stuff in his stomach would move around and it would look gross, like a toxic, because it was exposed. It was an amazing toy feature, and it was a figure that I was very excited to get again in later life. Another kind of prized possession. I do love that. I think it's amazing. And BMAC even stated on the stream, no, it wasn't in the stream, it was in a post afterwards, wasn't it? Yeah, it was on, I think, on one of the posts about Action Man. He said, if there are any other characters in Action Man that you guys want to see, let them know. I think we could see more. I really do. I think a Dr. X would be amazing. You've got Natalie Poole, of course. you got Nuck, you've got, like I said, Dr. X, you've got all sorts of interesting, cool characters. Just, have a look up, look them up, and then pick your fave, and then mention it in the comments on any of the 50,000 posts that happened over the last couple of hours. And yeah, they'll be looking. So I think we need to get Dr. X involved, because that would be an absolute dream right there. And then we've got more shots. This, in fact, I believe the shot on the right was the first one I saw actually yesterday. And I'm surprised we didn't get any kind of leakage, which I was genuinely surprised, because usually when we get sent images for anything, you're likely to see them leak, like, very shortly afterwards. Not saying I leak them, but as in they usually kind of, they're out there. And no, it didn't actually get leaked, which was amazing. So yeah, it was kind of nice for a change to kind of get a little bit of a surprise right, at the actual the point of the reveals and everything. Need some rock vipers to take on Action Man, says Raphael. Indeed we do. Indeed we do. Only bought one Action Man. Why don't I believe him at all? Says no, I did, honestly. The enemy of Action Man is Couch Potato. Indeed. Movie 2 Red Ninja vibes, cliff swinging. Yes, big time. Dr. X henchmen or troopers. Yes, that would be really cool. Dr. X is the drug dealing bad guy in Operation Mind Crime from Queensryche. All others claiming the name are pretenders to the throne. This I command, not at all. Bad Wolf. Dr. X will always be Action Man. Dr. X to me. I'm sorry. Arctic Rescue head swap with this is going to be a thing. Yeah, for sure. I'd be down for Dr. X, but I'm also hoping for an Iron Claw too, says Scott. Yes, if we can get some dope bad guys, I want Baron Ironblood, I want Iron Claw, I want Dr. X as sort of like a rogues gallery of like different era bad guys would be freaking awesome. I know we can pretty much make Baron Ironblood with a few purchases of the awesome Crimson Moon figures from BBTS, and Fresh Monkey Fiction and everyone else that's involved in that. But like I would love it if we got like an O Fish Baron Ironblood. That'd be so dope. Iron Claw needs to happen. I agree. Would Hasbro redo masking classified? I imagine so. Like the fact they're showing up in, we've got whole Skybound issues now. I mean, Hasbro would be kind of crazy not to do something mask related with the classified series, I think, personally. Night Force Action Man and Night Force Natalie Poole 2-pack. I love that, Jeremy. That's a great shout. Dr. X is the man with the cure. If you know, you know. Indeed, Coffee and Smokes. Thank you. Also, funny story, but in the UK, they ran a marketing campaign, an ad campaign, television commercial advertising campaign with Action Man, where they gave the fans the vote in this sort of like kind of like live action sort of like commercial where Action Man's fighting Dr. X, and it was just like those GI Joe commercials where they use live action actors. They have a fight, and then right at the end of this one commercial, they have Dr. X like in a position where he's hanging off the edge of this railing, and Action Man can either save him or let him fall to his death. And they gave the fans the vote. They gave kids that vote. What do you think they actually came back with? I'll tell you what they came back with. They said let him go. So the next at commercial that they showed had Dr. X like you voted, and then it's like as he falls to his death. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. Anyway, Dr. X was by the fans, which was hilarious. Anyway, it is yes, it's a chalk bag, Ted, on the back of his. That's the same thing that Alpine has basically on his secondaries, because it's his secondaries. I remember getting Action Man from Bradley's back in the 90s as a kid, says Chame Howard. That's awesome. Yeah, I know, kids are the worst, aren't they? What's that? The backpack and chalk bag are going to be problematic together. They're not. I mean, you'd think so, but they're fine. Trust me. I'm messing about with it on a daily basis. You asked for this, you bunch of psychopaths. Exactly, Scott. That's exactly what it sounded like in the commercial as well. Um, Nothing like letting children kill bad guys. I know, right? Anyway, there's one more shot here of him entering a cave, which is ominous, isn't it? Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, sorry. I can't multitask for life of me. I apologize. Mainly to any audio listeners where they just hear all of a sudden it goes quiet and I'm looking at something else, like a butterfly just flew past or something. Um, yeah, so there you go. There he is, with his utilizing his little flashlight to see in the cave there. I wonder what's in the cave. That'd have been cool. Again, bit of homage here, guys. You could have had like a little, like like a side or a piece of another character or figure or something that might be coming in the future that you could have hinted at, and we'd all been like, "Oh, what could that be?" But they've not done that again for like the 57th photo set now in a row. We really do need some homage, please and thank you. Some Easter eggingtons. Anyway, there is the figure in the studio with all the gear, and not another rifle in sight. So I'm pretty sure that has been costed out. I don't know why it was in the promo images though. So weird. Snake armor in the cave. Exactly, Scott. That would have been perfect because it would have been funny for me and also an homage to Master Vice. Yeah, indeed. The packaging. Should we talk about the packaging? Hot damn. Again, this is probably going to speak to me and my brethren in the United Kingdom more than anyone else. But holy crap pants. Like that is straight out of the Action Man packaging, you know, kind of style. Even down to the way he's extreme. He's parkouring in the corner there. I love it. James says some people are upset about this version, Action Man, but I think this is a good sign of Hasbro expanding the longevity of the JoJo classified line by bringing Action Man and Tomb Raider. It's bringing in a whole new generation of collectors outside a real American hero. Why are people upset about it? I don't really understand. This is rad. I feel like I'm being served up some absolute, like, here you go, Chris. Kind of, and then that might be the problem. It might be that my tastes are different to everyone else's. But this to me is just like, yes, please. I love it. Yeah, there's obviously a lot of talk about this not being a numbered, classified product. To me, to me, I'm not that fussed. I really don't care about the numbering. I really don't care about I've never really cared about the numbering. Like, I'm a completist on this anyway, so it doesn't matter to me. There's plenty of figures that aren't numbered. Do you know what I mean? This doesn't have to be. It's sort of like its own separate thing. I think this is actually considered a collab, believe it or not, because um, you know how Transformers GI Joe collaborative, that's seen as a collab as well, and they're sort of same owned brands. I believe this is a collab as well. It's like technically, referred to as a collab. So you've got an Action Man and GI Joe sort of like brand coming together sort of scenario. Yeah, Legacy and Retro Card aren't numbered. Yeah. In any case, I'm down. I really love it. I think it's amazing. Here it is. Look at that with the explosion kind of like call out as well. Get in. The greatest hero of them all. Like they're just covering all the bases and in multiple languages as well, as we all love so much. Action Man, there he is. Freaking amazing. And there's the back of the package, French for the package. Again, obviously very, and it says from the makers of GI Joe Classified series, which I think is a cool touch. I like that. And yeah, I kind of feel like with Lara Croft coming around the corner, Kitty said, Action Man and Lara Croft make a kind of pretty dope team here. That is a real. Now all I can think of is how cool a comic would be Action Man, Lara Croft, G.I. Joe, Skybound. I mean, make it happen. Make it happen. Rifle hidden on the top left. That's his Outback rifle, not the other rifle that has been costed out, we assume. But I don't know if that's what you're referring to. Airplane City. Sorry, I don't know if that's what you're referring to, because we were talking earlier on about the fact he's got like 2 rifles in the promo images, but only 1 in what we effectively see in the package and that. There you go. Chris, can Hasbro make a Robo-Skull if they wanted to? They could make a Robo-Skull based on the original Robo-Skull, yes, 100%. What weirdly, obviously, they couldn't make a Robo-Skull that we've already had with Skeletron, because that's technically it's a, you know, obviously it's a completely different design and what have you. But yeah, they could, if they wanted to, they could make a Robo-Skull from like that mimicked the original sort of one, but in a bigger version. But I kind of feel like they probably would think that might be not worth doing at this point. It was, thank you. Okay, cool, Airplane City. I apologize because I hadn't noticed you comment before, and therefore I was wondering if you were what I didn't know if you were referring to that or not specifically. Yeah, that's true actually, Neo Blue. The trademark for Robo-Skull is owned by Skeletron, so they couldn't name it Robo-Skull, but they could call it like Steve Robo-Skull Jenkins, couldn't they? But they don't own the IP for the original Robo-Skull. Obviously, they just own the trademark for the name. Very, very specific difference there. Anyway, there you go. That's that. And there's the back, which is really dope. Love it. Oh, God, I'm so happy we're getting an Action Man. I'm so excited about that. And oh, yeah, one more thing about Action Man. Here's the artwork. Beautiful artwork that's on the side of the box that you don't actually necessarily see very clearly on any of the images. In the studio they had like a shot where you could just about catch it, but yeah, thank you, Mr. Stevie, for posting this earlier, by the way, and giving us something to have a look at. But there's a definite blue hue in the shirt there, isn't there? Definitely. So I wonder if that was the original sort of deco idea, and they just went black because it was a costing thing. Interesting they didn't change it on the art though. I don't know, when certain things are done, it's like too late in certain areas. So they probably just thought, well, good enough. I love this though. I think it's really, really dope, and I can't wait. I'm so excited. Is this what Lara Croft's packaging will look like? I don't know, actually. Don't know. Yeah, you say that, Paul, but it's very like it's very dark. Like if there's a hint of blue in there, it's ever so minimal. Like you can see it in the studio there. I know the lighting is always a little bit different, but it's black, I'm afraid. It really does not have the sort of same blue that the artwork has, but the actual figure itself is pretty dark. Like you would not easily be able to see it if you'd really have to kind of, I don't know, wait till you have it in hand is what I'd say on that one. But he looks great. Love him. Not the same blue, but also not black. Okay, sure. Wait till you have him in hand and then tell me. Yeah, there he is. It looks a little bit different there as well, but again, it's really dark. And actually, that's probably the best example of any sort of element of possible blue in the shirt. But again, it's really dark. And there's the backpack. There's a nice shot of the backpack actually, where you can see the logo, and you can see there's a bit of you can see the actual distance from the backpack to the pouch. They don't really get to mess with each other. Next week, need a Danger Girl collab, says Modest Toy Collector. Who knows at this rate? The packaged image is blue. Yeah. Okay. Wait till you have it in hand, guys, and then we can talk about that. And right. Render reveals. So we got some extra stuff with YoJoe June. but we didn't get name onlys, which I know is an issue. But for some, but we do get render reveals on this one. So let's have a look at what they revealed. Obviously, it's the red and black Legacy Avalanche Response, which is absolutely freaking awesome. The figure comes with Doc's stretcher as well in that red with the amazing logo on it. That mountain, was it patrol? Yeah, the mountain patrol logo. So nice. And yeah, really cool loadout for this particular figure. A lot of snow job, of course, and yeah, just basically effectively what we saw in like some interesting ways. It's a red blitz. It looks orange in certain, but yeah, it's like it's a very candy red sort of color. It's very orangey. Let's just say it's orangey red. But yeah, I'm just going to turn the brightness up on my screen because yeah, it's like a very candy red basically. It's definitely got an orange hint to it for sure, guys. Yeah, let's just say it looks like that. You've got this is rescue only, by the way, guys. There's no weapons for what is effectively a mountain rescue situation. They're just literally rescuing people from avalanches. So this is sort of like a, we're not talking necessarily like military scenario here. This is yeah, thank you, Jeremy. That's the word I'm looking for. Non-combatant. Action Man opens the door for adventure teams, so does the Avalanche Legacy figure. We need to expand beyond military into the adventures. YoJoe is the everyman for life. YoJoe is the oldest friend, to be honest. No shame, lol. Totally came, yeah, absolutely. This is he. It's Snowjob. Snowjob's body. It's the Doc's taser and the flare gun. Snowjob skis and poles, Snowjob hood, Snowjob body for the most part, Snowjob neck piece as well, which is like the down hood, the goggles, of course, the snowshoes, and the backpack of Snowjob as well, Doc's stretcher, and that classic helmet we've kind of seen from Wolf Spider, with the head of, I want to say, the Legacy Special Forces, right? Is it? No. No. What is the head? I've completely forgotten what the balaclava heads are. No, I've completely lost that. Yeah, that's the loadout and that's the figure. Very, very cool. And we're getting, it's another snow related sort of character that will line up nicely with all the other snow stuff coming down the pipe. Yes, I did mention Doc's taser and flare gun, Scott. Yes, already done that one. Bias has said Kamakura question mark. Don't know. Legacy infantry, says PBJ. Infantry heads. Yeah, I think it is. I think that's what it is. Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is, actually. Okay. And again, we'll know next week. I wonder why. Mainly because renders the pattern and so on. That's all I'm saying, guys. Okay. Without saying we're going to get pre-orders for this Legacy figure and the next one next week. That's basically what I'm getting at. And here's Dusty and Sandstorm. Do you know what I find really hilarious about this? Is they didn't put an angle like a 3/4 shot of Sandstorm. So you get this really cute but very doofy looking front shot on the render, which I find quite adorable. But it's also a bit funny to me because it's like this would have been a great idea to have a 3/4 shot of the pup so that you could see the coyote, so that you could see like what the kind of figure looks like a little bit. And I'm just going to say this reminds me so much. This render only, by the way, the actual figure is absolutely fantastic, but the render reminds me of the Crack Fox from the Mighty Boosh. It just hit me. It just hit me. Anyway, Dusty looks amazing. It's yeah, your kind of classic Dusty and Sandstorm figure. It's brilliant. Also the heads, the one on the left is actually sort of like a growly, sort of like aggressive face, but it just comes across like they're smirking because of the angle it's taken. I think that's so funny, by the way. Dusty has definitely been hit in the gym. He looks hench. Sleeveless in Seattle, of course, with the vet tack vest. So there's some nice little updates on him, on Dusty. And also he gets the beret, of course, removable, which is a nice touch. The kind of like Shamak neck piece, the kind of like the mask and goggles kind of face mask for, you know, to keep the sand out your eyes. The backpack, which I believe is that Dusty's anyway. No, Mercer's, isn't it? And then, of course, you've got the rifle with removable mag, the pistol and silencer, and the dagger. Hello, darling. Annie's come down the stairs to say hi. Hello. Do you want to show people what an animal looks like, and not from the front here, like Sandstorm here? But anyway, yeah, it looks cool. I'm really into this Dusty and Sandstorm set, and another one that I think, you know, a lot of people were sort of like asking for, even after we got the, you know, but she's gone again now, so she's not going to show up on the show. You know, after we got the second version of the Tiger Force Dusty as well, I think a lot of people were like, it'd be really cool to get Dusty and Sandstorm because it's another animal, it's another animal companion, so you know, all makes sense. But this is really cool, and I think this is going to look great in the Vamp Mark II with clutch. What's really annoying though is that as I'm building my desert display, I'm gonna have to, like, one Dusty's gonna have to go somewhere else. You know, Dusty version 1's gonna have to like hang out somewhere else. But yeah. Hella chafing, says Huntress. Amazing. Subtle difference between coyote head sculpts. Yeah, there is. I mean, it's more obvious if you look at them not directly from the front like this. But yeah, I think Spearhead and Max is a great shout, Scott. As what ones do you think are left, guys, in terms of figure pet sets? Not like, I'm not counting Voltar because he would come. He get Voltar as like a single figure with a vulture in the same way that we've got, you know, Shipwreck and Polly and Spirit and Freedom, etc. So Voltar wouldn't necessarily be in this particular conversation, but in terms of figure pet sets that would be in that figure pet kind of like price point, which ones are you talking at the moment? Dusty and Footloose and hang out in the Ore Striker together. Oh, that's true, Jeremy. Yeah, they could do that. Stormavic Beret, says Rancid. Well, you never know. We, you know, I think. Are you back again? Hello, sweetheart. I think she wants to come and say hi. I'm calling Dusty One a new character, Fennec. I love that idea, Lawrence. That's genius. Deep Six and Finback, Scott. I love that shout. Spearhead and Max obviously is a great shout. I think we need a Bobcat, don't we? Do you want to say hi, darling? Do you want to say hello to everybody? Come on, then. Up you come. Come on. Up you come. There we go. Okay, so here's my little Sandstorm. Hello, darling. Hi. Do you want to say hello to everyone? There you are. Look. There's Annie. Hello, my darling. Oh, you okay? Just throw up in your mouth a little bit. I had that effect. I had that effect on everyone, I think, don't I? Hello, my sweetheart. Do you want to say hi to everybody? Yeah. Okay, well, this is perfect timing. Talking about Sandstorm, the coyote, and here's my little coyote, my little wily coyote. You're such a sweet angel, aren't you? Yes, you are. What are you up to? You doing much? Just hanging out, licking my face? Okay, cool. Anyway, yeah. So Scott says hi. A few other people have said hi in the chat. So yeah, there you go. You good? Good girl. All right then, Pumpkin. I'll pop you. Do you want me to put you down? On the ground, I mean. Wide Scope and Lamont is a great shout, Jeremy, for sure. Any others? Yeah, we said Deep Six and Finback. Crocmaster Red Croc, as in like a Python Patrol one would be amazing, yes. Undertow Barracuda, yes. Eels version 2 with the shark, the mechanical shark for sure. Yeah, I think these are all good shouts, guys. Definitely. I wonder if Undertow with Barracuda would be just a regular figure, though. I don't necessarily think they'd have to do a figure pet set for that, would they? Because that one, I think, yeah. Chris, think you missed a lot. We are getting shipping notifications. Huh? Of what? You mean for Zartan and Dire? What's it called? Dire, Night Creeper, and that kind of stuff. I'm getting the same shipping notifications, if that's what you mean. Cobra Night Adder with the dog. Yes, absolutely. Nuke for hire. New pets, new dogs. I like that, Robert H. Do you want down now, sweetheart? Okay. She's gonna say bye bye. Okay, darling. Good girl. Go on then. You okay? You can go that way. Good girl. Okay, she's Annie has had enough. She's seen her adoring fans, and now she's run back upstairs. Pulse is sending out Dawn and Airtight Wave notifications. Cool. Dawn Day. I think I mentioned that like right at the start of the stream about Dawn. Someone mentioned it in the comments, and I said it out loud. Anyway, yeah, you can miss it if you're not listening to all 12 hours of this show carefully. That's very true. It can be easily missed. I've gotten notices for Dawn Moreno, Airtight, and Hydro Vipers in the last hour, says Bad Wolf Media. Well, yeah. I mean, I've been on for an hour and 41 minutes, so of course I'm going to miss that. Yep, I have also got the same. Guess what, guys? I got the same ones. Looks like Airtight, Dawn. What else? Just Airtight and Dawn. Is that it? Just Airtight and Dawn. What kind of joke organization is this? Oh no, there's more. There is more. No, there isn't. It's just Airtight and Dawn so far. Has everyone got more? Have people got more than that? Hydro Vipers. Damn you, Bad Wolf. I don't think I've got a Hydro Viper one yet. I'm just going to go through my emails now. Yeah, that's good for radio, isn't it? I'm not going to do that at all. But yeah, if I don't get a Hydro Viper notification in the next 5 seconds, I'm going to burn the entire place down. I'm not. No, it's not there. It's not there. Man, I get a lot of emails. I cleared this out a minute ago, and I've got like hundreds of emails. I need to burn email to the ground. Actually, is what I need to do. That just leaves Sundown from that order for me so far. Yeah. So yeah, imagine if I'm the last to get Hydro Viper, because that would be sucks. You old men are distracting the blabbering old man. That's exactly what's happening here. Anyway, that's enough for Dusty. Let's get into leaked listings for 2026. I've updated everything now, so everything that's up for pre-order is now green. As you can see, some pretty obvious standout situations right now. Avalanche Rescue, Dusty and Sandstorm. So it's very likely, is it not, that we'll be pre-ordering those next week. I would say the chances of that are almost 100%. So there you go. Now, what do we have left is a very good question. And what do we have left for the actual month of January? Well, with the earlier point that BMAC had made prior to YoJoe June, saying that there would be 14 pre-orders in total, we currently, if we let's just, for the sake of argument, Avalanche Rescue and Sandstorm and Dusty and Sandstorm next week, right? Sake of argument, they're next week. That leaves the final week with 5 open spots. Okay, which would indicate to me that we are looking at the mainline wave of 5 of Mistress Armada, Iceberg, Rugged Duke, Toxo Viper, and the unknown Stupendous. Currently unknown Stupendous. Now, that is, I'm just going to say, that is what I'm going to expect for the next 2 weeks. All right. Now, you can have different expectations if you like. If it turns out to be true, I think you just have to listen to me, aren't you? So anyway, Mistress Armada, Iceberg, Rugged Duke, Toxo Viper, and that other figure, I fully expect to be showing up on the last stream, right? Which probably would mean that next week we'll probably see renders for those particular figures. Like the way that the patterns roll out and everything, that is just my expectation of everything. I can't tell you what stupendous is, unfortunately, Huntress. Until they could, if they'd have done a name only reveal, if they'd have just dropped one name only reveal today, then I could have unlocked it. But at this point, I cannot. Do I think the list figure is a Joe or a Cobra? Stupendous. I can tell you. No, I'm not going to say anymore because it'll get to the point where I'll just describe everything about. I'm not going to go down that route. I'll just say if there's any leaks or anything like that, then I will just unlock it. But yeah, at the moment, it is an unknown, and let's just be surprised for that particular one, shall we? And because I don't want to get in any more trouble than I'm probably already in. Now, it also obviously leaves the door open for 3 retro wave remaining, which I expect to be probably SDCC and beyond. I would expect that to be later, and they may do render reveals for retro. That would be great, actually. The crown is definitely removable. Then if we go over to the other side, we have obviously Vavoom 2-pack, which is another Ninja Force 2-pack for Target. We have the JJ Ghost listing for Walmart, which is another Walmart exclusive, which will be the one that is around SDCC, that Walmart Collecticon. So, no, tell a lie. Sorry, I tell a lie. Nightforce Psych Out is going to be for that, and then JJ Ghost, that last Walmart exclusive, will be further along. That'll be in the fall and in the kind of winter time, and that kind of back end of the year. Sorry, I had a brain fart then, because Nightforce Psych Out has actually landed in port recently as well, which is kind of cool. Then as we go through, there's a JQ Race 2-pack, which hasn't been revealed in any way, shape, or form yet. So again, that will probably be SDCC and beyond. Same for her Tundro, which I believe her Tundro and Benton, I believe they are both vehicles. So there's more vehicles to come, guys. Okay, have no fear. There's more vehicles to come. And of course, the Arctic 3-pack, which obviously I don't think will go up until later. Probably beyond SDCC. Maybe they'll kind of have that sort of go up in after SDCC. I don't know yet. Obviously, Action Man now unlocked, Ramp Rats unlocked, Grand Slam unlocked, Tan Clutch with Vamp unlocked. 2 unknowns, and they are genuinely unknown even to me. I don't know what they are. There were 3 of those, by the way, and one of them turned into Tan Clutch with Vamp. So those 2 could still be on the cards. We could be up. I mean, there could be it's nuts, but that makes sense that they are still active. And then, of course, we have the SDCC listings for Shipwreck Cadet Deming, Fatal Fluffies, and the NYCC listing for Tomb Raider, which completes the whole sort of what we know so far. Still a bit of red on there, of course. You got a bit of red on you. But I think, so by the end of the month, I think we'll at least have, we'll definitely have one of them will be less red, in that Stupendous will be known. But I don't know. I can't really see what else they would reveal in YoJoe June. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? Something on there is made to order, right? Says Couchboy. Possibly, but I don't know which listing yet. Properly, I don't know yet. Name dropping the 3 retro figures at some time this month. That would be great. Yeah, I could see that happening. Thank you, Chris, for keeping us informed. I really appreciate it. No worries. I hope one of the vehicles is a watercraft, asks Mark. Do you know what? I think I can say, from what I'm aware of, Mark, because 2 of them I don't know. So it could be. I'll just say that, because 2 of them I don't know. The 2 I do know are not watercraft. But the two I don't know, not a clue. Not an effing clue. And also, they're not necessarily going to be vehicles. One of them I think might be. The other one I don't know. It's just a crapshoot for those two listings, unfortunately. The unknown new figure could be Noah, who comes with a mate pair of each animal in the animal kingdom, says Saint Brutus. Interesting. Could the Arctic 3-pack just be a click and ship surprise when the Snowcat or Arctic Hiss ship? Possibly Bad Wolf, possibly. Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely get shipping data when her gloop arrives in port. So if that does happen, then at least we'll know, what's Guan in then, don't we? Is one a snowcraft? No. Neither of those two either, Neo. I won't keep answering the questions to narrow it down. Where Voltar? Asked Crimson Cobra Commander. I would say Voltar is a big character, and I think we'll probably see Voltar in the fairly near future. BMAC did say we had a brand new character coming, right? He did, Crom, and it's stupendous. I think I've said that before. I think I have said it's a new character. I just have avoided it today because I couldn't remember if I had or not. But I'm pretty sure you're right. Yeah, Stupendous is a brand new character to the line. So a name only wouldn't actually give you much extra information. But yeah, like you'll find out next week. You might find out next week, or they might do a sundown scenario and save it for the following week. You know how they did like the silhouette for Sundown? They might do the same thing for this particular character. When is the HAL slated to ship? I don't know, but it usually tells you on Pulse if you've ordered one, Huntress, or if you've got access to Pulse. Let me have a quick butchers. This is like the let me Google that for you, isn't it? Let me Google that for you. Oh God, stop with that bloody... I hate that weird message. It always pops up. And I'm logged in, so I don't know why it does that. Pre-order item will be available to ship at approximately October the 1st, 2026. There you go. Crom says, okay, that's what I figured. Thanks, Chris. No worries. Blow Mold Dan recorded week 3 and 4 with BMAC. He knows the goods. Blow Mold Dan. That's right, a bit disrespectful. Quickly getting through the IGs, so I would expect Voltar soonish, says Scott. Yeah, definitely. Imagine Robocop in Classified. Actually, do you know what? You don't have to. Just grab Sci-Fi. But yeah, I like that idea, Crimson, of getting other sort of brands in, like they've done with Lara Croft, like they've done with Action Man, like they've done with what else have they done it with? That's it so far, isn't it? Sarge, I guess, but it's not really because he's already G.I. Joe. But yeah, I think more of that would be cool. I'd definitely love to see Robocop in Classified as a classified figure with build and all that kind of stuff. I think it'd be dope. Lamprey with more races, Blitz, unfortunately not. Catchboy says again, BMAC, please do RZA. I would love RZA. I would love a RZA sort of like, sort of like a movie verse wave where they did sort of like figures and characters from like all the different sort of movies that we never got, figures wise. I know we did get a RZA figure, but I mean like a 6-inch classified figure. Hell, I know obviously it's not looked at fondly, but the Arashikage guards in the Snake Eyes movie, I would love them as action figures. I'd love Grandma Arashikage and Kenta. But again, I know obviously, people are not happy with that, and fair enough. But I would kind of love sort of movieverse related figures as well. And like, roll back to like Rise of Cobra, Retaliation for some of those cool ones as well. It'd be so dope. Will we ever see the fridge? I don't know. I think that's one that if it could have been done, it would have already been done. I think the fridge just doesn't want to get involved with that sort of stuff. So I think he just keeps away from it. Cops would be awesome. They are well, I mean, Cops is sort of being done by Fresh Monkey Fiction, isn't it? Or whatever, Big Back Workshop, etc. etc. And we already have what's his name, Bulletproof, and he's amazing. So I'm happy for that to be living in that sort of area. But yeah, like anything that they could get hold of that, you know, they could do kind of classified version figures of would be great. But that Bulletproof is a beautiful action figure. I really love it. It's not the Thunder Machine, Saint Brutus. Just to make that clear, Tundro is not the Thunder Machine. I wonder if we'll ever get any Revanche characters from the Hammerverse. That would be really cool. I'd love all these like interesting sort of characters that maybe haven't been done in in 6-inch or have been done, haven't been done in classified, obviously. But yeah, like Mask, hell, man, if they did a 6-inch classified kind of series like Connectivity Visionaries figures, I was so like, okay. So we had known that Visionaries was on the cards with Super 7 for a long time. So I was hoping with all my heart, and don't get me wrong, I do actually really love what the O-Ring Reaction Plus Visionaries look like. They look great, Darkstorm and Leoric, but I was genuinely hoping for Ultimates because I think that's something I've always wanted, those particular figures in like that kind of cartoon accurate sort of vibes. And I just thought they could have done some amazing stuff with the Ultimates. However, I would also be really up for Visionaries with classified, just to get a couple of the classics in there. And if people really liked it, then just keep churning them out every now and again. I would love that. I'd love classified could be one of those like lines that offers like a lot of brands these sort of like line opportunities. Would be kind of cool, wouldn't it? To be like a feeder for all of these like random kind of brands that don't have figures. The other thing is as well, yeah, like in humanoids, yes, Scott, classified Earth Core would be insane. In humanoids is one, like I said, Visionaries would be amazing. I would say ROM, but that Marvel Legends ROM is absolute chef's kiss as well. But again, I think, yeah, well, we'll talk about same time. We'll talk about that on Saturday. But yes, there has been a massive reveal in the comics. I won't go into it right now, but there is another brand joining the Energon universe, which is absolutely incredible. So they are just IDW revolution and all the way, aren't they? Gem in Classified Slave, I'm with you. Yes, please and thank you. Dan's blow mold videos are the best part of life. His toy videos rule, but that blow mold show is Dan's swan song. Blow molds rule. Dan does the best blow mold videos. He rules. Find him. Thank you, Catchboy. For I wasn't sure if you were being disrespectful to him or not, but no, that's cool. Yeah, the gem would be amazing and classified. Absolutely amazing. Cadet Deming is a big move. Yeah, classified Mara and Raven would be dope. RR Rolf, definitely. Rolf. Energon in classified already. It's been too long. Yes, definitely. Uncharted Nathan Drake, Gears of War, Ghost and Soap from Call of Duty says shelf presence. Not a bad shout, honestly. Not a bad shout. Headman and his Headhunters, absolutely, Scott. Please and thank you. Sectors, yeah. Although some of these are kind of being done by other companies, aren't they? But yeah, I'd welcome any sort of brand into the kind of classified action figure realm, as it were. But yeah, there you go. Anyway, that's the 2026 leak listing scenario currently, and where we sit in terms of pre-orders and what's been revealed and what hasn't been revealed so far, and what we can expect soon. Covered all that. 2027, no updates yet. I imagine we'll start getting name-only stuff later in the year that start unlocking these. So we're a little ways away, but we'll get there. Okay. And then, of course, finally, name-only reveals now have been chopped down again. So it's back to Iceberg, Night Force Psych Out, Rugged Duke, Lara Croft, Toxo Viper, and Mistress Armada. And in terms of the digital renders and revealed figures, we had a few kind of come in and zip out again. Same thing's going to happen, I imagine, next week. But I have added Dusty and Sandstorm and the Avalanche response there to the group as it is. And yeah. Yeah, lovely stuff. And that's everything. We got it. 2 hours. Damn it. Sugar plums. I realize it's late. I'm going to call it a night. Guys, thank you very much for joining me. This has been a fun kind of look back at the fan stream today. I can't believe we got 2 hours out of it, actually. I mean, it's one of those things where I think I saw a few comments of people saying that could have been an email, which I did find quite funny. But at the same time, you know, there's still significant. You got 3 pre-orders in that bad boy, couple of renders. You got a Skybound interview. I think it's plenty in this particular. So again, expectations, guys. You know, like this is by the end of the month, we'll have had more GI Joe classified content than we would have seen in one fan stream easily. So just let it happen. You know. We've got another week next week. We've got more pre-orders coming. There's going to be more reveals for sure. And then going into the last week, we've still got 2 more of these bad boys. We're only halfway through. 2 more of these bad boys to come. Lots of cool stuff on the horizon. And then after that, we're looking at SDCC. We're looking at fall convention circuit. We're looking at like a lot of cool stuff in the back end of the year as well. So there's a ton more to come. It's going to be amazing, and I feel like I'm kind of like really buzzing at the moment. It's been 2 weeks of like tons of cool stuff. I mean, a friggin' hell with an OG13 member has been, you know, added again, and a massive towable. Another vamp scenario with a bit more news attached to it. So not only are we getting a Mark II vamp with a tan clutch, but we're also getting a reissue of the first one. A lot of people, that's a big deal. And then, you know, Action Man, which I think is probably why everyone's upset, because I'm getting something that I really wanted. That's probably what's going on here. Anyway, that's it for me. Have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday evening. I will see you on the next one. Who knows? There might be more news before the end of the week. I mean, I'm going to try and save it for Saturday, but if something really, really big drops, then I'll obviously try and, you know, go live for you guys. But yeah, if I don't see you before, see you on Saturday for the weekly. Have a Oh, no. I tell a lie. I'll see you on Friday for the weekly, because yes, once again, Numbnuts over here has forgotten that major things are happening on the weekend. So my bad. Let's just rewind a bit. Friday, I'll see you for the weekly, Friday evening. I think usually around 6 is when I drop that. So about 6 p.m. EST. Apologies for those in other parts of the world where it's a very late night for you, but it's the only time I'll be able to do it. And I'll see you then for the weekly. And Saturday, I'll just have to be busy doing other things. And then, yeah, Sunday, I'll have the Patreon stuff. So anyway, have a wonderful rest of your evening. See you on the next one, whenever that may be. Stay fresh, cheese bags. And as always, after 3, you know what to do. 1, 2, 3. Full force. Laters. That's it for this installment of the Full Force News Burst. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time. And as always, full force. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos. And as always, you can keep up with the show after listening by following on all of our social platforms, links in the description. And if you would like to contact the show, you can message us on any of those platforms with feedback or questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.